With no one in the packed theater, Caitlin Clark predicted what would happen next as soon as the microphone was handed to her at the stage. She was the biggest star in the WNBA and had already broken every record. There's going to be an unimaginable break. The silence that has surrounded women's sports for decades is perhaps more powerful.
That's not something that's up for negotiations anymore. It's like you must have that if you...
What started out as a typical reward ceremony quickly transformed into a moment that would have a lasting impact on the sports industry. The comments that surfaced did more than just inspire thunderous applause from the audience. A whole generation was motivated to act by them. But how might a basketball player react? Fans, businessmen, and seasoned athletes are crying as a result. The speech that follows would challenge everything we think we know about the power and success of using your platform to do something greater than yourself in sports. When Caitlin Clark took the initiative to accept her WNBA Rookie of the Year trophy at the league's annual awards presentation in November 2024, the moment was already historic. The biggest figures in sports and women's sports attended the event, which was held in a busy area of New York City.
And Melissa Smith went to the line and did in fact.
Clark's presence at the podium symbolized more than just one individual's achievement. It signaled the beginning of a new era for female athletes in the workforce. In 2024, Clark's rookie season had surpassed expectations and altered records in a way that seemed almost impossible. As he led the Indiana Fever to their first postseason berth since 2016, she averaged 19.2 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 8.4 assists per game. One of her statistical achievements was setting new records for rookie assists. 337 three-pointers were made, making him the only rookie in league history to accomplish a triple-double. The impact of Clark's marketing presence extended beyond basketball, as her games regularly drew over 1 million viewers on television and regularly sold out stadiums across the league. Melissa Smith had to go to the line and really finish the game. The Indiana Fever shifted from playing in smaller venues that sell out the same arena used by the NBA's Indiana Pacers, and season ticket sales increased by more than 400%. That women's professional careers in sports history were altered by the financial revolution. WNBA legends like Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and Maya Moore were among the attendees that night, along with modern-day stars like Breanna Stewart and Anu Wilson. Clark's experience inspired young admirers, public personalities, and business executives. Seats was sort of like a new season, a new change, but the eclectic mix of people mirrored the wide alliance that Clark's accomplishments had formed in respect to women's basketball. There are questions about when Clark might have been prepared for his freshman year for this kind of public speaking opportunity, and whether her undergraduate experience in Iowa, where she became comfortable with intensive media attention, affected her ability to talk to such a large and influential audience. As soon as Clark began speaking, she claimed that the room's attention was drawn to her initial remarks since she failed to acknowledge her own achievements. But it was the female generations that had built the foundation that made her accomplishment possible. She discussed WNBA pioneers who built the league's infrastructure and achieved financial success by performing in small arenas for pitiful pay while maintaining other professions. Accountability was the central focus of her speech. To ensure that the progress accomplished over her lengthy rookie season is sustained, it is both her responsibility to use her platform responsibly and the collective responsibility of everyone in attendance. After her playing career ended, she challenged league officials, sponsors, media representatives, and supporters to continue their commitment to women's basketball despite the potential decline in her own celebrity status. Clark's speech, genuine emotion, and specific calls to action. You can truly sense that they are a very kind and loving person. She outlined concrete steps that different stakeholders may take to promote the expansion of women's sports. She talked on how the media covered women's basketball and asked that it be given more attention throughout the season rather than just during postseason runs or record-breaking performances. Her comments were significant because of where they came from. A person whose presence had fundamentally altered the sports industry's commercial landscape. As Clark spoke about her teammates and coaches who had supported her transition to professional basketball, the standing ovation gradually began. As she commended the opponents who had inspired her to improve and maintain the level of competitiveness, the applause grew louder. As a result, women's basketball is persuasive.
like a new season, a new change, but everyone just...
But when she shifted the focus from basketball to broader social influence, the entire crowd stood up. Legal experts note that professional athletes' public statements have developed into forums for addressing social issues and advocating for structural change, reflecting the growth of athlete activism and the recognition of players' unique ability to influence public opinion, policy, and opinion exchanges. As she described how she grew up watching women's basketball on TV and dreaming of playing professionally, Clark's comments about equality in sports resonated throughout the auditorium. She also mentioned how she realized that the financial and media coverage that men can access athletes was far better than she could anticipate in women's athletics. Her own narrative developed into a more thorough examination of gender mockery and the importance of creating opportunities for future generations. The basketball player used her platform to encourage young girls who were watching from home and in the audience to pursue their athletic goals, while also emphasizing the importance of education and developing skills outside of sports. It was done by Caitlin. Her statement acknowledged the challenges faced by female athletes when expressing optimism for new opportunities while striking a balance between motivation and realism. Participants in the audience gave her significant praise when she discussed the connections between teammates and competition respect. Clark discussed learning from warriors who first perceived her as a threat to their recognition and playing time. However, she finally acknowledged that the league as a whole benefited from her accomplishment. Over the course of her first season, these relationships had evolved from early disagreements to mutual respect and cooperation. In the speech, specific recognition was mentioned. Those fans who had embraced women's basketball during her debut campaign. A large number of people were engaged in the activity. For the first time, Clark acknowledged that maintaining fan engagement will need constant efforts to create interesting and accessible events for a variety of audiences, as well as continued brilliance from all players. All sponsors, including corporate executives, received direct recognition for their increased support of women's basketball. But Clark also encouraged them to continue helping despite the inevitable drops in output or focus. "I've stated that Kansas City would be an excellent location for a club. Well, I've never really." Her comments were particularly noteworthy because her presence generated previously unheard of revenue and visibility that benefited the league as a whole ecosystem. What conversations Clark might have had with coaches, mentors, or seasoned athletes before the incident that impacted her must be questioned. Decision to focus on group responsibility rather than individual achievements. The repercussions might suggest that she spoke with maturity, understanding her role in the history of women's basketball and her obligation to use her position to make a greater impact. Clark's acknowledgement of her grandfather's influence on her basketball career and his emphasis on using achievement to help others achieve their own goals was the speech's most poignant moment. Her personal story captivates the audience and those who are aware of the networks of support, sacrifices, and families that enable elite athletes to succeed. When Clark asked for comprehensive coverage of women's basketball that extends beyond her own games and accomplishments, she got a lot of support from the media. She said, "For your athletes, but also like they deserve it, so why wouldn't you build it for them?" She specifically requested that more talented athletes, compelling stories, and the business aspects of professional sports for women that demonstrate the league's growth and profitability be taken into account. The novice sensation discussed coaching and opportunities for women's advancement in basketball, advocating for greater representation of female executives and coaches with decision-making roles in collegiate and professional basketball. Realizing that systemic change must be represented at all levels of sports leagues was reflected in her support. Her comments regarding women's basketball's global expansion acknowledged the sport's global traits and the opportunities for American athletes to learn from international competition, while also sharing their skills and knowledge of basketball development programs abroad. When Clark concluded by stating that individual success is meaningless without group progress, and that her first season achievements would only be meaningful if they contributed to long-term improvements for women's basketball and women's sports in general, the standing ovation reached its peak. In her final words, She asked everyone there to continue their commitment to equality and advancement long after the initial excitement of record-breaking seasons and viral moments had faded. The audience remained upright as Clark left the podium, and the ensuing lengthy cheering continued for several minutes. The emotional response showed that her comments had deeply resonated with listeners who recognized the historical significance of her athletic achievements, as well as the greater value of her statement about accountability and sports growth. Historians note that statements made by breakthrough sportsmen often become significant turning points in their careers and the development of their individual sports. These public statements have the potential to influence coverage, public opinion, and media and policy decisions in ways that reach well beyond a single game. Performances, the immediate social media response to Clark's speech, millions of shares and views across a variety of platforms, including clips of her and the most memorable moments that are going viral among basketball fans and broader audiences with an interest in social justice and equality concerns.
Kansas City would be a great spot for a team. I've never